Okay, this is going to be. You want to get into portfolio bidding strategy? This is a good one. Let's get into
Yeah.
this.
Let's do this
All right.
one. So there's a target CPA or maximize conversions with a target cost target hack that you can do. Now, one of the biggest limitations of maximize conversions with a what do they call? What's the exact labeling right now with a cost target cost?
Maximize conversions with a target cost per
Yeah,
target cost per acquisition. Yeah,
it changes a
target
lot, but we
CPA.
always just call it target CPA, even though
Target
that's
CPA.
kind of the intermediary name. And one of the downsides of that is you don't actually get to set a maximum cost per click bid limit, which means that if you're bidding for a lead for $100,
Mhm.
maybe in the past you were paying $5 a click. So then you just, you get 20 clicks per $100. Your conversion rate is at, what's that, 5%. But then because of the nature of target CPA and the algorithms, they could just do a bid for $25 and then you've paid 5x what you did, or 17.5, and then sometimes $2 a click. And that can be really frustrating for a lot of advertisers, because when you've gone from having control over your cost per click and knowing your economics to Google pushing towards a model that is using all their data and algorithms, you're just going, I had this control that worked. I want to go further, but now I'm letting go of the control. So there's a bridge between those, but it's not even a bridge. It could be even the promised land beyond that, which is using portfolio bid strategies. Now, this title is an interesting title because I don't think it describes it properly. I think the best way to describe it is setting a target CPA, or you could do it like there's other bidding models you can do in there, but setting a target CPA for the account that you can actively apply to certain campaigns of your discretion. And within that, you can set a maximum cost per click bid. So
Mhm.
therefore, you get the benefit of target CPA or the maximized conversion with goal, but also have the ability to go, if I'm only paying $5 a click, I want the benefit of target CPA, but the benefit of control over CPCs. So
Yep.
I've just spoken a bit about the description of it. Corey, we're here to have a conversation. How
Yeah.
often do you use it? Do you use it?
Oh
What are your
yeah, a
thoughts
lot.
on it? What are your results with it?
Yeah, I use it a lot. There's going to be cases. Well, let me start more basic, I guess. So it is it is a hack in a way. I mean, because I think even though it's been around forever, it's somewhat hidden. It's sort of like in its own
Yeah.
section. Like even when you're in the settings for the campaign, it's not obvious that you can do this. Google just kind of gives you the defaults of maximize conversions with a target CPA or without one, maximize conversion value with the target ROAS or without one, or in some campaign types you have maximize clicks. And actually it's interesting because with maximize clicks it sort of hints that maybe it is possible to set a maximum bid limit, right? And you're like, wait, is this possible for others? And it seems, unless you knew about portfolio bidding strategy, that you can't do that. But
Yeah.
the beauty of a portfolio bidding strategy is you can both set a maximize CPC, but also, and kind of underrated, as a minimum CPC. What's the
Yes.
minimum you're willing? Now, this can be good, right? Because yes, we don't want to overpay for certain clicks, but we also don't necessarily want to tell Google it's okay to underbid.
Yeah.
Maybe we know something that we're not feeding into Google Ads for smart bidding. Like we know that if we start spending only so much for a click, it tends to generate really low quality leads or something like that. Well, in that case, tell it like, I don't want you to be like under aggressive. I want you to make sure you always spend at least $1 on a click, because we found every time CPCs, or most often when CPCs are like 25 cents, it just ends up being like really
Yeah.
low quality leads. That's good information. And then you can utilize the min CPC setting. So yeah, very, very fantastic to even have this as an option. I hope so much that Google does not deprecate portfolio bid strategies. If anything, I'd love for them to just sort of combine it into the settings when you're looking at campaign settings, rather than being like a separate section. Just
Yeah.
have it integrated into when you're setting up a new campaign or when you're changing and editing an existing campaign. But I love them. Yeah, it's really, really great
It's
to have.
I like using on accounts, and I'll be honest, I tend to forget that it exists, except for when I look at accounts, I'm like looking at the portfolio bid strategy. I'm like, yes, this works, and then the results are solid. It's just that it's just a bit clunky to implement it and apply it and set it up. And there's a lot of things to it that just don't make it as seamless as Google likes to with the
Mhm.
whole one-click campaign setup.
Yeah.
It's a very clunky way to originally find where the actual setting is in the Google Ads interface, create it, apply it, and then do the settings. I think you've actually got to like go into one or two kind of like subsidiary openings of it to do it.
Mhm.
But I think about clients who have not like extreme sensitivities to cost per click, but there is, and I want to make
Yeah.
sure that I have the ability to control the maximum cost per click, whilst also giving them the benefit of the advancements of Google, because not all of these smart bidding things are evil. Like it's a very polarizing thing where it's like, is it good or bad? It's like it's good and bad, and it's bad and it's good. And we've got to figure out ways as experts, as people, anyone who advertises, how do you get all the upside whilst minimizing the downside? And the
Mhm.
downside being, in terms of search campaigns, um, low quality traffic, expensive traffic, yeah, probably those two things. And then, but even for like things like PMAX, trying to like not be in bad placements, all that type of stuff. So this is a really good, powerful strategy. Particularly, I only use it for search, by the way, just for context.
Mhm.
And I found that it's really beneficial. And I don't even know if you can run on other networks. I suppose you could. Like, I think there's a Target ROAS one, but I haven't used that yet. But
Gotcha.
with search campaigns with a target CPA on it or a target cost per lead, and using this, I found it actually very beneficial, especially in industries that can be quite competitive, yet
Mhm.
also you may not have the budget to be as competitive as other competitors in the market. So then you can't have that luxury to bid quite aggressively on things that may put you in a top position that Google would prefer you to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you can use this. I mean, I was just looking in the interface. I mean, nowadays you can use it across more than it used to just be a lot more limited in the bid strategy that you can utilize. Let me go back. Fastest way, if you guys are curious, so you don't have to like search for it. Just use the search bar, guys. I don't love the newest version of the interface, so just search for it. If you know it exists and it's out, just type in portfolio bidding strategies in the search, it'll come up. So target CPA, we can use it for that. Target return ad spend, so target ROAS, maximize clicks, maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, and target impression share. So it's not limited to target CPA or target ROAS.
Yeah.
So if you have a campaign that's using target impression share for whatever crazy reason, you can go in there and you can still set it as a portfolio bidding strategy. So just know that you're not limited there. And you don't, it's not limited to search. You can use it for shopping campaigns as well. And that's actually more often where I'm going to use it is shopping campaigns.
Yeah.
What I don't like is, this happens a lot with e-commerce when you have a product catalog that's really large and you have size variants for products that can range from $25 to like $1,000, and you have a target ROAS, and those products for whatever reason are in the same campaign, and Google wants, or even the same ad group, and Google wants to set a target return ad spend across all those different price points. And so you can, if you don't use something like a max CPC, you can easily see that for the search term, something like, let's say search term ABC, the CPCs could be $125, right?
Wow.
But the problem is maybe that person only wanted to buy the $25 version, so you have these issues. So you got to be very careful about that and kind of foresee that happening. Therefore, if you know that very few people buy the $1,000 version and most people buy like the $25 to $50 version, use that for
Yeah.
like a max CPC. Don't let Google overbid because it sees that you could sell it for a high price point, and its intent signals think the person is likely to buy a really high priced version. Believe me, guys, it's smart, but it's only so
Yeah.
smart. It's not going to be able to 100% predict the person's going to buy the $1,000 version. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's the thing is, remember, smart bidding's only as smart as the data you input to it. And you've got to have more control on the front end because
Yeah.
it will try to it has too much data to work with,
Yeah.
which means that it's not going to be, so you've got to it's too much data plus your knowledge to try and bring them into clicking together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, as you're saying this, Cory, I'm like, wow, even my mind's expanding, but it's we need to ensure that even with all these powerful AIs, bidding models, algorithms, all the stuff, all the fancy words they use, the polished words, basically the data intelligence that's external, It's still like a pool of data and also blending in yours that we still have control over it to ensure that we are not overpaying. It's
Mm-hmm.
simple as that. This is an
Yeah.
investment at the end of the day, and we want to make sure we spend this much, and then we get a good return on like the macro level. But then the macro is made of the micro, and that's where you got to have the discernment and the intelligence to know that, okay, based on this client, as we were saying in the last segment, you've got to know the client, their products, their product ranges. And you say we could have something for in the same range for $25 and one for $1,000. And by not knowing that intelligence, you could just be running ads for years and just be like, yeah, like the results are subpar, and you just do that tweak, and then the ROAS explodes or the revenue just shifts
Mm-hmm.
significantly. And this isn't a hack per se, it's just a strategy that you implement yourself and you
Yeah.
see if it works. A hack is like, do this one button click and everything fixed. A strategy is, here's something that could potentially work based on your business, based on the strategy, based on the implementation of it as well.
Awesome. I think that's it for portfolio bidding strategy. I mean, they are pretty straightforward. There's not a bunch of advanced settings. It's really just you choose a search or standard shopping campaign that you want to apply it to. And I would say one beautiful thing, it's, again, the name is deceiving, portfolio.
Yeah.
You don't have to put multiple campaigns. You could literally have a portfolio bid strategy, a different one for each campaign if you
Yeah.
want to. Totally fair, and that's great. You probably should do that because maybe you don't want the same max or minimum CPC for everything or multiple campaigns.
Yeah.
Just know that it's a little bit of a deceiving name. They probably will change it eventually. I think it's a very old school. I mean, it's been called that since forever, since it came out,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
Since
So
Google
yeah, you
AdWords.
could. What's yeah, since Google
Google
AdWords. Let me
AdWords.
find the book. Yeah, but yeah, guys, you can do it for a single campaign. That's totally fine. A good example is like branded search. If you're using automated bidding, you know that you do not want to, you don't want to pay more than whatever, $25 a click or $1 a click or whatever it is. Go ahead and use that. Otherwise, use manual bidding. Set it yourself. So, yep.
The other thing, just to quickly actually like make people's lives easier, I don't have to do this, but this will make your life easier. Number one, just be really cautious about how you set it up, because I think from what I've seen, and this is just from what I've seen, so it might just be my account, you can apply the same bid portfolio bid strategy across multiple accounts. So just make sure you're
You
applying it to the
can.
right account.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's maybe where the portfolio bid strategy is for. It's like the portfolio of your clients or the accounts in the MCC or
Yeah.
your management center.
True.
So that's a really important one. Where there comes to the next stages, and this is the next two things, is number one, name it appropriately. So this is how I name it: client name dash whatever the bidding maximize conversions target CPA dash whatever the CPA is, like $150 dash max click at $8 or $2, whatever it is. So that way, when I go in there, I know what client it's for, what the bidding model is, what the target CPA is, and then what is my maximum click. Granted, I do that. And then make sure that when you're in your ad account, when you're setting up your columns, I just set it up as a column is like what bidding model strategy or the name of the portfolio bid. That way, when I'm looking at the campaigns, I can go, okay, this one's actually a portfolio bid for this campaign. This one isn't, or whatever it is. And then I also know the insights of it, because like it's actually quite hard if you just call it like portfolio bid strategy one. That has no information to it.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure that you're on the highest level possible. It's as simple as possible to make this like understandable.
Yeah. One thing I'll add is just make sure you're careful, because I think people can find out about this stuff and then they over abuse it. They're just like,
Use it
let
on
me like
everything. Yeah.
everything, and they get really conservative with the max CPC,
Yeah.
and it's not even really backed by a lot of data analysis. They're just like, man, I personally feel like we shouldn't pay more than $5 a click, so I'm just going to put that on there, and then you limit yourself. And then the smart bidding is like, man, the only way I can get a good sale on this with a target ROAS is to pay $5.01. But you've already told Google, nope, can't go after that, and all of a sudden you're getting lower quality leads, you're getting less sales, and it's going to just be a vicious cycle of it getting less and less confident, spending less and less of your budget, and you're making less for your business. So just be careful. Don't go crazy with the max CPC.
Well, that's where I thought we were going to like end this segment, but this is what happens. We keep evolving ideas, and then you've got to go, well, the reason why I want this is because I don't want my usual $5 bid to blow out to a $25 bid. That's ridiculous,
Exactly.
even a 20.
Yeah.
So then It's actually just going, what is my threshold above $5 that I'm willing to pay? And it's not saying that, oh, if I push it to $10, Google's going to do $10 every click. It's the max. So
Mm-hmm.
really also going, rather than going, I don't want to pay more than $5 a click, it's like, yeah, of course. But then what happens if it was $6 a click? Would you want to do that if it was a good click? And you'd be like, yeah. And it's like, okay, well then that threshold. And just keep going. I think just doing the self exercise, like what's the maximum threshold,
Yeah.
even if it was $5 a click, that if it's $15, you might be like, no way, or $10. But just don't be so constricted to like, no, the $5 cost per click in the past. Just be like, no, we want it to have some flexibility. Is it a 20% variation? Is it 100% that you can go from 5 to 10? Just exercise that idea in your mind. Once again, this is how expertise is generated, by reviewing data and doing self-reflection, and then tuning into yourself and seeing like what's your your threshold to pay more. Once again, $25 for a click that should be $5 is ridiculous, but
Mm-hmm.
$7 for a click for something that's $5, it's not. So figure out what seems ridiculous to you, and it'll give you more clarity on how to give it a bit more flexibility so you can leverage the intelligence behind these systems.
Yeah, and also don't be like overly reactive. Sometimes you got to be proactive with stuff like this. If you go on your search terms report over the last 180 days or something, it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess we could do a portfolio bidding strategy, but what we already have, it never really bids above $5. So I guess we're good.
Yeah.
Google will probably find an excuse to eventually bid like $50 for a click,
Yeah.
and you'll see that and you go, man, I wish we didn't waste all that money.
Yeah.
You know, you can be proactive with this stuff, and I would recommend that. Yeah, just
And it
assume
makes
it'll eventually do it. Go ahead.
And what makes this so much easier for you is just if you've run this campaign as a manual cost per click for ages, and you've got a very clean like line of traffic coming through, the search terms are very clean, you're happy with it, no rubbish is coming through for like the last week, 14 days, 3 months, whatever it is. So then when you turn on these algorithms, but you put on the clicks, even when it bids higher, it's bidding higher on qualified traffic that from your past experience works.
Exactly.
Very important as well. Like, because
Absolutely.
there's two bits to it. Number one, make sure the campaign has conversion data to it. You don't start off with this, by the way. I would not start off with this.
No.
But knowing there's enough conversion data and the bill of traffic, the traffic is just very clean. The search terms are clean. So then when you give over to these models, you can get the benefit of it accelerating with its intelligence, but not accelerating the cost per click. So this thing sucks. This really sucks, not only when your $5 click goes to a $50 click for the same keyword, but it's when your $5 click goes to a $50 click for something like Google Ads Management PDF file. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
or DIY like optimizations. You're like, so this, I'm like, just for me to put that in, because it can become extremely frustrating with this stuff. Doesn't happen to me. I'm overly analytical with the quality of traffic. But for most people, they will do this and the traffic will be poor. That is just like a stake through the heart. Like, have good quality traffic. So if it does bid a bit too high, you're bidding high on good traffic. Just want to say it's super important.
Very good point. Yeah. All right. Let's leave it there.